Hi guys, just want to do a quick video today to tell you the proper way to make a nice bone broth. This is going to help you in your keto diet. It's also going to keep your gut in optimal health. It helps seal up the gut of any leaks it may have. And also it's just going to make you healthier overall. This is how we do it. So if you're on a keto diet, you're probably roasting chickens on the regular anyway, but don't throw that carcass into the organic bin, because you're going to be able to just throw it in the crock pot here instead and turn it into basically nectar of the gods, bone broth. First step, we're going to throw the carcass into the cooker and we're going to get some apple cider vinegar. This helps break down all the bones and whatnot, help to extract all the marrows in the boiling process and get all the nutrients that we want out of the bone marrow. The next thing you're going to want to do is crank up the hot water on your tap, because you don't want to have to wait for the crock pot to heat up all that water. You might as well throw hot water in there. Just using a pitcher here, easiest way to do it. We're going to put about 2 full liters into mine, or half a gallon. And then as things progress, we're going to boil this for 24 to 36 hours. So you might end up adding water later on. But we're going to start with this 2 liters to begin with. I usually don't throw in any vegetables yet, because they don't need to boil quite as long. It's the carcass and the bones that we're going to want to boil for 24 all the way up to 48 hours. You can see I got it on high here. I love this Hamilton Beach crock pot. It hasn't done me wrong yet, and it has this sealable lid here, which I love, with the clamps. Keeps the animals from, my cats from jumping up here and pushing the lid off potentially. But that is the first step. Then we're going to add in some salt here. I'll show you that. Now when it comes to salt here, guys, I generally start out with literally a little handful of salt like this, because this is quite a bit of liquid and you're going to want some salt in here. Helps with the flavor, helps break down the bones. We're probably going to add more than that, surprisingly enough. We're going to end up with about 2 or 2.5 liters worth of broth at the end. And it's the saltiness that really gives this the flavor. You don't realize how much salt is actually in soup. And you don't have to feel too guilty about it, because when you're on a ketogenic diet, your kidneys tend to expel lots of water, which reduces your mineral content in your body, especially salt, reduces your electrolytes. So don't feel too guilty about eating a little bit of extra salt. So here we are after about 8 hours of boiling, guys. I'm just going to stir all this up. You can see all the meat's falling off the bones. We're getting a nice broth-like texture to everything here. Another thing I like to do is my broccoli stalks, because I do eat a ridiculous amount of broccoli on the keto diet. I save these broccoli stalks just for this purpose. I also eat a lot of roast chicken, so it kind of works out that way. But I take these and throw them in at about the 8-hour mark, like we're at now, and basically soak all the goodness out of those overnight. Now some of the water's boiled off here. Like I said earlier, we're just going to top it up with some more hot water. Another thing I like to do is, a lot of these crock pots, they only run for about 8 hours, so what I like to do is just turn it off, back on, set it to high. Mine makes that annoying beep to let you know that it's on for some reason. Other than that, I love this crock pot. Then I also seal up the lid for the night, So this thing should run until morning. I think this model runs for 12 hours at a time. So, you know, resetting it at nighttime for the 36-hour boil, and in midday, that should get you through the 36 hours without a hitch. And keeping it on high takes a long time, but let me tell you, this stuff is well worth it when it's done. I've had this going for about 24 hours now, and as you can see, it's got a little more green color to it from the broccoli stalks I put in there. Now is about the time that I like to add onion and garlic. You don't really have to dice the onion up. I just cut the ends off, slice it in half like this. You don't even have to pull the skin off if you don't want to, because we're just going to strain everything out when it's all said and done. This onion is going to fall apart probably in the next couple hours into a bunch of pieces anyhow. Then I got a couple large cloves of garlic here that I crushed up about a few minutes ago. Let the Allison, all the good things in the garlic, hit the air, activate the garlic, so to speak. Just going to dump that in there now. And yeah, that's pretty much the recipe. I'll let this go, you know, maybe another another 12 hours or so, maybe up to another 24 hours. That would be a full 48 hours. But 36 hours is plenty usually, and we'll have lots of color. Then I will show you the method for straining it and removing the fat, because you don't want to have too much fat in there as well. So I've had this going for 48 hours now. You can see the color in it. The onion's all cooked. Garlic is soaked in there. At this point, you're going to want to do a taste test, see if you want to add more salt. Typically that handful of salt or palmful I put in earlier is just about right for this amount. So what I'm going to do next is just shut it off, let everything kind of cool down a bit. We're still going to work with it when it's hot, but just let the element cool down and whatnot before we start handling things. Now that I got everything cooled off, I'm just going to take the oven mitts and then carefully pour this into a large pot. That seems to be the easiest way I've found to do it. Then from there, we will pour this pot through a strainer into a pitcher. So there you can see I have it poured into the pot. There's very few solids in there. If you do it nice and slow, you're left with all that still in the pot. We'll just throw that into the organics afterwards. Next step is to pour it into the pitcher. So I just have my pitcher rigged up in the sink like this with this mug, so the strainer doesn't go anywhere when I'm pouring it in. This will get the majority of all the solids out, a nice fine strainer like this, and then you'll be able to let it sit and let the fat rise to the top. We will then skim that off. So there you have it poured into the pitcher. We got about half a gallon or 2 liters. You can already see the fat is starting to separate out there on the top. We will continue to let that separate a bit. Then we're going to take a ladle and skim off that layer. Another way you can do it is also you can put it in the fridge, allow that layer to harden, and then just pull it off the top. So now I've let that separate out a bit more. You can see there's more of a layer of fat on the top there. What we're going to do is skim it off with this ladle, pour it into the jar because you want to store it, not pour it, and then throw it out in the garbage. Best way to do is just stick the ladle in like this. Oh, we're kind of spilling out the spout. And kind of just skim the very top layer off. Might take you a couple scoops to get everything. Now, having a little bit of fat in there isn't that bad, but it can be a little greasy. And what we really want here is mostly the bone broth from the marrow of the bone and the meat. which is the part that's going to help heal your gut, and it's great for keto. So you can see starting to clean up there on the top. That's probably all we need to do. And there you have it. You can just stick that in the fridge. You can drink this in lieu of coffee, or if you're just, you need a snack, it's a great drink to have because it actually has a little bit of calorie substance. It's I think about 50 calories per glass. You can heat it up in the microwave in a mug. Tastes great. Takes about, I would say, about 80 or 90 seconds to heat up a mug full of it. But what I'm going to use this for is to make a vegetable soup, my secret veggie soup that can help you lose 10 pounds in 1 week. So you're going to want to stick around for that. That's probably going to be my next video. I'll link it up in a card here up in the right hand corner and in the description so you guys don't miss that. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure you're subscribed so that you can stay tuned for that video. Just wanted to thank you guys for watching. If you liked that video, be sure to give me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you haven't already. I wanted to give you a free cookbook also. I like to call this Top 10 Must-Have Keto Recipes. You can claim your free copy by clicking the link below in the description. See you next time.